This is Left, Right and Centre. I'm Nidhi Razdan and these are the headlines at 9 o'clock tonight. From IIM Bangalore to Xavier's Kolkata, from Mamta Banerjee to the left, more protests take place against the Citizenship Act. The BJP announces its own outreach to give its side of the story. The Prime Minister does his bit on Twitter, says the Citizenship Act is about giving citizenship to persecuted refugees and not taking anyone else's citizenship away. In other news, Ajit Pawar is sworn in as Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra again, this time with Uddhav Thackeray as CM. The young Aditya Thackeray also takes oath. And it is the coldest day that Delhi has seen in 119 years with a maximum of 9.4 degrees. It's also the season's worst fog. 300 flights are diverted in the national capital today. But first, as far as the Anti-Citizenship Act protests are concerned, they took place today politically by the left at Jantar Mantar here in Delhi. Mamta Banerjee held yet another rally in Purulia in Bengal, while students from Kolkata's St. Xavier's College took out a protest, and students at the IIM Bangalore have been on a relay protest as well, which is going to go right on into New Year's Eve and into New Year's Day. So there are just a few students at a time there in IIM Bangalore that are taking turns so that they don't violate prohibitory orders under Section 144, and they're going to continue that protest right on into New Year's Eve and into New Year's Day. Meanwhile, the BJP has also announced that it is going to do its own outreach. It began, in a sense, with the Prime Minister's tweet this morning, where he, again, with a hashtag India supports the Citizenship Act, talked about the act and how it's about giving citizenship to the persecuted refugees and not about taking anyone's citizenship away, urging people to go to his app to look for more. The party, meanwhile, has announced that leaders like Home Minister Amit Shah, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will all be part of a campaign from the 1st to the 15th of January in various cities to try and reach out to people to make them understand their perspective. Other top leaders will also be part of this nationwide campaign, and Himanta Biswa Sarma, the BJP senior leader from Assam, will be their coordinator for the Northeast. That's going to be very critical for the BJP because Assam is still not happy about the way this has gone. Meanwhile, the essence of the Anti-Citizenship Act protests have been the many thousands who have come out peacefully over these last many days, irrespective of their religion, to uphold India's constitution and our values as a secular nation. For many, that is exactly what these protests are about protecting who we really are as Indians, not discriminating on the basis of religion. At many protests, therefore, you will see people reading from the constitution, reminding everyone that this is why we're here. Watch this tribute first to the constitution and to the national anthem by Nasiruddin Shah and TM Krishna.
Vayam Bharatasya Jana. हम भारत के लोग, हम हिंद की आवाम. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this Constitution.
जनगणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता. पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड Kalabanga Vindhya Himachal Yamuna Ganga Uchala Jaladhi Taranga Tava Shubh Naame Jage Tava Shubh Ashish Mage Gahe Tav Jaya Gatha Janagana Mangaladayak Jaya He Bharat Bhagya Vidhata Jaya He Jaya He Jaya He Jaya 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 He.
An incredible rendition of our national anthem there, and we are honored to have TM Krishna joining us live from Chennai tonight on NDTV. TM Krishna, that was a really very lovely rendition of the national anthem. Can I ask you first that why did you feel that you needed to do it in this way at this time? Do you feel that the essence, in a sense, of these protests is to remind people what our preamble and what our national anthem actually stand for?
Absolutely. When Nazir Saab and I had a conversation by email a week ago, we were discussing this, and what is most incredible about what the young people of this country have done is they have not just reminded us of the preamble of the Constitution, they have shown us that the preamble is India's culture. By reciting it in every protest, by showing it to us again and again, I think they have reminded us that that is India's culture. That is the essence of who we are, diversely unified. And Nazir Saab and I felt that that is something that we need to reiterate and tell ourselves again and again. And we also felt that the anthem also needs rediscovery. It's of late become this chest-thumping, authoritarian show of machismo, of certain kind of loyalty, almost a subservient, yes, I surrender kind of a feeling that they expect of the anthem. But the anthem is not that. Just listen to the words. The anthem is about empathy, is about how beautifully diverse we are, is about celebrating the essence of our hearts. It's not a geographical anthem, it's an emotional anthem. And it's important that at this point, at this juncture, which I think is a very important juncture, a juncture that has been gifted to us by the young people of this country, that all of us participate in rediscovering our soul.
I like what you said there. In a sense, you're saying that we need to reclaim nationalism. All of us need to reclaim nationalism from those who seem to think that only they have somehow a claim over it and you know, their version of it. Yeah. That's important, right? That we're all nationalists. Even those who are protesting on the streets against the Citizenship Act are all nationalists too, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I think, Nidhi, the truth is, you know, some of us, I think even at one point of time, were afraid to call ourselves nationalists over the last year or two. We almost thought it was a negative thing. So that's the image that patriotism and nationalism has been given, that it is an angry thing. It is about othering somebody. It is about saying, it was more about saying who doesn't belong, rather than saying who are all of us who belong. So the whole narrative had shifted to a great level of negativity. So it's important that we say no, patriotism and nationalism is in the smell. It's in the dharti, as they say. You know, when the first raindrops touch the earth, there is that smell. You feel India in that smell. It's an emotion. And I think asking questions, even intellectually, Asking questions is the greatest celebration of your love for where you are. You love it. You ask only questions when it matters. You don't ask questions when it doesn't matter. You ask questions of people because the land matters. You demand answers of people because you care. How can this ever be an anti-national act? How dare people call it an anti-national act? I can't fathom that at all.
Well, are you then, sort of when you look at the way the government is trying to deal with this now, with its outreach and they're having their own rallies for the Citizenship Act, and they have of course every right to do that, and they're going to do a lot of campaigns now over the next couple of weeks. The Prime Minister has been talking about it. Today also he's tweeted and said, this act is not taking away anyone's citizenship. I think the problem is that they're not talking about the Citizenship Act in conjunction with the NRC, which is what, is the biggest problem here. So are you convinced at all by the government's sort of outreach on this in any way?
Well, obviously I'm not convinced, because anybody who reads the Citizenship Act, reads the role of the NRC, reads about now money being granted for NPR, can just add the dots. It's very obvious. Now, the Prime Minister is saying we are a country which welcomes people who have been persecuted. Of course we are, Mr. Prime Minister. Please invite anybody who has been persecuted. Give them all just citizenship in 5 months. Who won't welcome it? Let the Ahmadiyas who have been persecuted come, sir. Let the Rohingyas who have been persecuted come, sir. Let the so many lakhs of Tamils from Sri Lanka who are here in Tamil Nadu please be granted the same love and affection. Who is going to ask you that question? We will celebrate that decision. But you have obviously and consciously removed one religion from the act, sir. That means you don't want those people here. That is not India. That's point one. Point two, to say that this is not about the Muslims in India is just a blatant lie. Just look at the NRC. Look at what happened in Assam. Look at how NRC data is going to be used. If you look at how NPR is again going to be used, how that data is going to be used to be verifying the NRC, everything is interrelated. Everything is connected. Of course it is also about the Muslims in India. What is this notion of doubtful citizens that they have brought, that they have also introduced? Who is making these decisions? How arbitrary is it going to be? I mean, there are so many loopholes in this operation of the NPR, NRC and the CAA that you can't run away from the truth that this is targeting the Muslim populations of India. This is to secure also that those who have been removed from the NRC of Assam, who were Hindus, can then be allowed to stay back in the country, and who may also in the future find themselves in the category of doubtful citizens, find an easy way entry if they were not Muslim.
But TM Krishna, what has been sought to be done about these protests, and I've seen this happening quite a bit over the last several days, is the attempt to discredit the protests and the protesters, those who are protesting peacefully, by suggesting that all the protests are violent, and they're not. And I think we all agree that there is no space for violence and any kind of mob action. And also to try and paint it as a Hindu-Muslim issue. Whereas, let's face it, the protesters are of so many different religions, and that's what makes this protest unique. It's not just Muslims out on the streets who are protesting. And so I just wanted your last thoughts, on that attempt to discredit these protests and your message to those who are trying to do that.
One, I'm not least bit surprised by these attempts. But if you saw any protest, you saw people from every religion. You saw people from every section of society coming together, singing with each other, standing for each other and by each other. And I have only one thing to say to those people who are trying to, place such lies and wedges about these protests. It's not going to work. And it's not going to work because what we are seeing today is young people, irrespective of their political positions. That's, I think, important too. We are seeing a diverse section of young people who are now realizing that religion is very overtly, obviously, and with great blatancy being used to divide all of us. Therefore, this discreditation is going to go on for the next 15 days as the government goes into its campaign about CAA and the NRC. But I don't believe it is going to work. I think there's an urgent need for this discourse as far as civil society is concerned, as far as everybody who is against the CAA is concerned, to extend it to smaller villages all over the country and spread this conversation of why we are all together and we need to stay together. Again, keep reading the preamble in every language that we can.
TM Krishna, great to talk to you. Thank you very much for joining us on NDTV this evening, and thank you for that hauntingly beautiful rendition of the national anthem. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nidhi. Thank you.
And we were talking about the fact that one of the things that makes these protests so unique is the fact that you have students from so many different cities in India who've been coming out peacefully, largely peacefully, to make their point of view. And we saw protests today at campuses from St. Xavier's in Kolkata to IIM in Bangalore. Here are some of their voices.
We're outside IIM in Bengaluru, where students and some faculty members have been protesting in their personal capacity against CAA. This is not their first protest. Letters were written. Later there were protests where blank posters were brought out and footwear was brought out. This is when there were prohibitory orders in place and they were not allowed to actually protest in large groups. They came out one by one, leaving their slippers, leaving blank posters. This is the latest protest. It is a 3-day vigil looking after this flame. 72 hours non-stop, with students and faculty members taking turns to protest. What does this flame represent to you?
So there's an idea out there that democracy is something that is it's like an impenetrable fortress and it's always going to take care of itself. That's not the idea that we want to encourage. We want to look at democracy as something that we have to foster with great care and to ensure that we have received this gift and we leave this gift for the future generations as well.
But of course the question again is, you protested before, letters have been written, you had that other silent protest, people coming outside. Why still the protest? Was there a fresh trigger, or is it just that the protest should be maintained?
See, it's not about why we are continuing every time, because the decisions have not been taken back. Every time we have been seeing that people are not, still you feel in the government, the BJP ruled government, there are people who are saying still think they are not taking, giving that enough attention to the student protest that is happening. Okay. Recently, I heard Prime Minister issued this thing that the education institute should not be protesting and they should be focusing more on the studies. We also want to study. We have not paid the fees to do the protest over here. But the thing is that our protests are not being registered. Maybe it is not reaching the right person, or it is not being registered.
And all these protests, of course, in your personal capacity. Yeah. It's not an institute protest.
Yes,
you people feel that you should come and you should protest.
Yeah, definitely. This is in the personal capacity. There is no asset that the institute is not the view of the students, and the professor should not be taken as the view of the institute. It is the individual capacity that we are protesting.
How optimistic are you that the new year will bring in changes? Is it just a small light in the darkness, or are you optimistic?
We are optimistic, and that is why we are here. And particularly speaking for myself, being an expectant mother right now, I have to be optimistic, because I have to believe that I'm bringing my child into a future, into a society that is inclusive, that is based on love, that is based on diversity, and so that we can focus more on like cleaner air, better water, better infrastructure, instead of wasting obscene amounts of money on an exercise that is incredibly, not if not exclusionary, but also economically down.
And you will not be discouraged? How long do you think you will continue to raise your voice in this quiet manner?
As long as it takes, as long as I have faith that India will always be a compassionate and a kind and inclusive society, so long as I can think, I will always be here protesting in what little I can do. I want to do it. Thank you.
We've seen protesters of all age, and I'm sure that your child must be one of the absolute youngest, an unborn child here represented at this protest against the CAA. by students and faculty of the IIM in Bengaluru in their personal capacity. They describe it as a light shining in the darkness. They say they will protest until CAA is withdrawn. They do see it as divisive. This, the voice of the people protesting outside IIM in Bengaluru. With TM Kumar, Maya Sharma for NDTV.
Students of St. Xavier's College are seldom on the streets of Kolkata, but today they are out, marching out of their college, not a huge distance, but down Park Street. If you see their banner, you can see that they are here to protest against the violence that students of Jamia and other institutes have faced in the recent weeks. Are you all protesting the Citizenship Amendment?
Absolutely, we are absolutely against it because this will kill the secular nature of our country.
So why is it that you don't have the word Citizenship Amendment Act on your banner?
Because we want to stand with the solidarity with the students of the JMI and MU, and I think it is indicated that we are protesting against it, and it is an anti-Muslim as well as an anti-poor act. It's not only attacking the Muslims but also the poor of the country.
The non-controversial St. Xavier's March did have its own dash of controversy. BJP Rajya Sabha MP Swapan Das Gupta tweeting that he had heard people were being forced to join the march.
The youth of the country has come out. And when the youth comes out on the street, don't tell them that they are tutored. You are insulting them, you are insulting yourself, and you are insulting all your education.
Not just students, some of the teachers of Xavier's College are also on the streets. Again, a first of sorts.
I think we have been kind of finally pushed to take to the streets. Yes.
Pushed by the fascist forces, pushed by the forces which destroy the Indian democratic fabric day in and day out. So we have been compelled.
So strong voices emerging from this march, not huge in size, but the voices are strong and they are angry.
Well, let's go across now to my colleague Sanket Upadhyay. He is at the site where hundreds of women have been sitting to protest against the Citizenship Act now for the last 15 days in this biting cold. Today, the coldest day in Delhi in 119 years. But Sanket, these women protesters are not going away. They're just sitting there.
Well, teeth chattering cold in the national capital, the coldest December in over 100 years, and you can see that at this moment, just notice who are in attendance. This is a protest in Shaheen Bagh area of the national capital, where women and children are leading from the front, slogans being chanted, where they're saying that they will fight and they will win. Obviously, a lot is being said against the NRC, against the Citizenship Amendment Act, and also the NPR, because these women here feel that this is some sort of a backdoor entry for the NRC, the exercise of the NPR. Women from all ages are gathered over here. ठंड में आप यहाँ क्यों आई हैं? इतनी ठंड में आप यहाँ क्यों आई हैं?
अब क्यों आया? पहले तो नोटबंदी कर रही, बाबरी मस्जिद कब्जा कर लिया, 3 लाखों की बात कर ली, अब जामिया में बढ़ के घर में पुलिस भेज दी, लाठी भी खाई, गोली भी खाई, पत्थर भी खाए, आँख भी चली गई, बच्चों की मर भी गए, सरकार ने जब भी कुछ ना कही।
कब तक बैठी रहेंगी यहाँ?
सुनिए, जब तक रहे, साल लगे, 2 साल लगे, 1 साल लगे, अभी वो मेरी कानून को दे दे वो आपको हम आपको, इससे हम कुछ मानते हैं। वो जो मानते हैं कि पहचान पत्र दे, वो बाप दादा का पहचान पत्र वो जानते हैं, हम 7 पूछ का हम पता।
आपके पास अपना कोई पहचान पत्र है?
7 पूछ का दिखा देंगे, 7 पूछ का। मेरा पोता है फैजान का बाप है फैयाज का बाप बख्श का बाप है, साहेब गदनी का बाप है, सुबदल का बाप है, फखरुल्ले का बाप है, नवाब। कहा मोदी को हमरे जगाने के लिए बता देगा अपना साबित।
So, as you can see over here, different ways of protesting against the CAA. And one of the things that is being said by a lot of people over here, I've been here for a very long time, amid all this sloganeering that is happening, slogan shouting that is happening, slogan chanting that is happening, I think a feeling that people have over here is that some representation from the government must come here to take cognizance of the fact that there are women and children protesting against a law which is being actioned on by the government.